will be presenting about the overall aspects and Indian scenario. Myself is a Vimal Kumar. I am a MECS program lead in India and co-founder of Finovista. Then the next session, which is a video recorded session by Mr. Shantanu Gupta. And then we have a panel discussions, which is moderated by Dr. Simon Batchelor and all. So I'll not take too much time on introduction, further introduction. So let me take my screen on presentation mode. Yeah. So I hope my screen is visible. So once again, welcome all for the transition to modern energy in cooking, and especially we are focusing on the green shift in cooking. As you are aware of that, the government of India, with the leadership of Mr. Tarun Kapoor, has launched the report, which is a green shift in the energy sector, and we will be focusing today on the clean cooking aspects, as the report suggested that 25% cooking is possible through the electricity by 2030. So this is our entire core aspects of that discussion. And who are we as a MECS program? So MECS is a 8-year research funded program. We are actually looking for the modern cooking fuel, and we're trying to move away from the biomass and firewood predominantly. It is a research as a research program. We are actually covering the various fuel, which is a clean cooking fuel, and evidence is pointing that viability and cost effectiveness and user satisfaction toward the energy efficiency is toward the electricity. And we are from Finovista. Finovista is in-country partner for MECS program in India. As a MECS program in India, we are focusing on the 4 predominant strands: policy, supply chain, consumer, and finances. On the policy side, we are doing a lot of activities to bring this clean cooking in the forefront. Today's session, which is the talk series, is the one of the tool which we have adopted. We have concluded till 21 session till date. We are doing every month, almost every month, this session, and this is actually very interactive tool, and it's a platform where people can come interact with each other. Then we did a forum in 2020. We did a forum in 2022 in September. That is Modern Energy Cooking Forum in Delhi. And this has also given a lot of push that government has started realizing that it's had a great potential. And again, we are going to do the Modern Energy Cooking Forum potentially on 27th of October in Delhi only. Then we have also developed the India e-cookbook, where we have established that through the research that the electric cooking is cheaper, and most of the Indian cuisine can be cooked through the electricity, and the electric pressure cooker is the winner among the devices. And the other devices where the India need to cook is the roti, chapati and all, where the Surya Nutan kind of devices are also capable, because it has the battery which actually can take. So the lot of new innovations are coming in, which is actually solving multiple challenges. And then we have also we are also positioning India as the hub for device manufacturing. In this, to continuing with this, we have actually did a entrepreneurship development program in clean cooking to promote the entrepreneur. Currently, we are running the Cook Clean Pitch Green, which is the investor pitching and connect sessions, where we are bringing the companies and investors together for fundraising activities. Then we also worked with the street food vendor, how we can actually transition to them in the modern access of energy. And we have supported 20 street food vendor in a national street food festival in Delhi, and we have provided the induction cook stove to them. Then we have also supported Global Leap Award in electric pressure cooker, and so on. And in the finances, again, we are also looking how we can actually enable the finances from the banking and the financial institutions to the startups. And SMEs. Then this talk series I have already spoke about. So it is like a first session 12 series, second session 12 series. We are on the 9th today. Again, we are planning to go for the phase 3. And we have over 1,500 people in the different sessions have attended till now. And it's actually becoming a very, very important tool that recordings are available. It is available whenever you want to hear and all. And the lot of policy makers are actually tracking these, and a lot of users are interacting and delegates are interacting with each other, which is helping them a lot. The current topic is focusing on the green shift in cooking. And we all know, so our panel discussion will comprise some of the important points. The factor responsible for low acceptance of electricity cooking, lack of suitable business model and behavioral aspect. What should be done to enhance the production of green hydrogen in India, and which sector would be targeting? And what is the additional steps needed to undertaken by the government to popularize and adopt the electric cooking under the Go Electric? So these are the some topics which we want to cover, and then we have a wonderful line of speaker. And then it is another important announcements that the 10th talk series under phase 2 is focusing on the engaging women, a game changer initiative, as most of the time the cooking is predominantly done by the woman, but on the solution providing side, on the ecosystem side, there is very less women involved. So we are actually trying to understand and focus more on this, that how we actually women can be with the solution provider and the solution seeker also together. And then the next one is the supply chain management. As we mentioned that we are looking for India as the device manufacturing hub. And I also like to touch upon that some of the SMEs and startups are here. So we are actually supporting them in fundraising activities. So they can actually come and pitch to the investors. So you can actually click the link and submit your applications and all. I request my colleagues to put the link on the portal. So with this, I stop my presentation here.
Chandan, please, can you share your screen for the recorded session of Mr. Shantanu Gupta? Please unmute. The voice is not audible.
Okay, wait a minute.
Good afternoon. I am Shantanu Gupta.
Now it is audible?
Yes, thank you. Yes, it is now. Please play the audio.
Director of Alternate Energy and Sustainable Development in Indian Oil Corporation Limited, in Corporate Office, Delhi. So today I will speak on the report which have been published by Energy Transition Report ETAC. That is, a committee was formed by Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas under the chairmanship of Mr. Tarun Kapoor sir. He is now advisor to Prime Minister on energy. So that report, whatever we have discussed from every sphere of energy which comes under oil and gas, which can be made green, and also we have dealt with hydrogen, we have dealt with electric vehicles and green cooking, apart from the biofuels and other alternatives which are possible. Different level of ethanol, production, like second generation, third generations, and other ethanol productions. So today we'll be talking on the report and recommendations which we made on this. I was acting as a member secretary of the ETAC group. So we got the privilege to work with best of the brains in the world today who are associated with the decarbonizations and also the climate change initiatives. So I will start the presentations. May I go to the next slide, please? So the global scenario, if you see the region-wise breakup of people needing access to clean cooking fuel, it's the unit is million people. So if you see the Asia, Africa, then Latin America, then North America, Europe. So if you have a real feel of the globe, where we are standing. So 1923, this is required needing access to clean fuel in Asia, which is the highest in the world. Africa comes second, and Latin America and others countries, including Europe, they have almost have access to electricity. So the task for them is much simpler, if you see that. Next, please. So what are the solutions available? We have been getting this because of the technology upgradations and various methods of cooking, clean cook stoves, biogas system, electric stoves, solar cookers, and others. These are the various modern energy solutions that's coming up, which is going to really make a big, foray in the business of doing all those things. And with the proper branding and proper campaigning, we can start selling all those things. A few of that we have already started. And like solar cooker, concentrated solar thermal power cookers is going to be very important for the country. And then clean fuel like CBG and blending in CBG, compressed biogas, blending in LPG, stoves working, biofuels like ethanol, methanol, etc. is going to really drive the movement of clean energy solution for the cooking. Next, please. Let's see LPG as a clean cooking fuel, right? LPG, as I said, it is lesser evil, much lesser evil, because it is a fossil fuel, but your emission level is much lower with respect to a liquid fuel what you are working on. So we had a LPG consumer base of 31.36 crore, which is a very sustainable and very good numbers for the countries. The spread is concerned. So Prime Minister Ujjwala Yojana, which was launched in May 2016, and the connection so far has been given to 10 crore. So 10 crore household, every household, if you have the 4 members, 40 crore is covered. So if you can see that way, there's a huge penetration across the rural areas and extreme areas of the country. So the growth is also going up pretty well, 7.4%. If you see the growth, that means the cooking habit is changing, that more than 70% of Indian households use LPG as a primary cooking fuel, and 85% have LPG connections. So there is seen that there are some connections are there, but there may not be sufficient refilling is taking place. So that also we are looking at very critically, so that the people become more and more interested for LPG cooking. Next, please. So this LPG as a primary cooking fuel, urban India and rural India, you can have a urban India, you can see 95% has been already converted. And also, if you see the rural part, it is going up very fast. If you see the from census 2011 to 2020, it has gone up to 61%. So that's a good movement. So combinations, you can see that 71% of that India average is going for LPG as a primary cooking fuel. Next, please. Refills per year, if you average numbers consumed, because if you see the urban is always leading, rural India is also catching up, and already the average is also good. This story was not like this 10, 15 years back. So after PMUI, the whole shift has occurred. So that's very, from these figures, you can have an understand that LPG as an exclusive cooking fuel, that it uses 7.6, and that it's going to be a big numbers for that, what is going on in the future also. Next, please. Now I will speak about compressed biogas, which is going to be a very, very useful alternative even for LPG. It's a green gas. Basically, this is all from anaerobic digestion, and all the all the waste, whatever available today, starting from agricultural biomass with the parallel burning. You can see the all burning during the harvesting season, and the Delhi is choked. And this is happening not in here, but across the country. So there lies an alternative that you can convert that biomass to gas, biogas, which can be used as a LPG blending and also as a standalone fuel. So this is the journey of biogas. We had a target of 5,000 plants, which will be having a 15 million metric ton per annum capacity. The plant commissioning is going on. As on date, 40 plants are already commissioned and another 60 plants are in progress. And it is going to be progressing by leaps and bounds by 3 to 5 years time. And you can see not only the cooking area, but the automobile area also, the application of compressed biogas is going to be very high. Next, please. Some of the plants, we can just wanted to how you feel that how it looks like. We have developed a plant at Hingonia, Jaipur, which is converting cattle dung, because you know that cattle dung, by drying this, that cakes were used to be as a fuel, still happening that day. But that cattle dung can be converted into clean biogas, which is negative carbon, and that can be used as a LPG blending, which we are doing. We are supplying this to Akshay Patra Foundation, where midday meals are being prepared, and the children are eating the food which is being cooked by CBG, which is otherwise was happening through LPG. So this is the way our country has started transforming, but it will take some more time with the focus and all those things. But this is going to be one of the very good alternative for cooking, clean cooking. Next, please. This is, you can see another example of Madhya Pradesh, Betul, Hosanabad, and also in the Gorakhnath temple. There are cattle, these small goshalas. They have a cattle tanks all around, which was used to be scattered here and there and getting all pollutions and all the dirty things. So that has been organized, and this is the production is going on, and they have substituted LPG for the cooking requirement. Small village, they have also having a pipeline connectivities so that they are getting the gas for their cooking. So these are the solution we have given, we did it by ourselves as Indian Oil to create an example, and this things is going to prosper like anything in our rural India, so that the whole waste, starting from vegetable waste, all the household waste and dungs can be converted to biogas and can replace LPG at localized rate. So that way you can progress for the country as a whole. Next, please. Pipe natural gas, this is one very important part because the CGD will cover 98% population, which is once we have all the all the districts covered, which is going to be by to 630 districts by 2030, and domestic connections we have by March is 1.03 crore. It's also growing very fast with this CNG network, and this CGD will be prospering, and CNG here also we are blending CBG. We have already started in some of the area where injecting in the pipeline the biogas, which is getting mixed with CNG, which is also getting a partly the cooking absolutely clear. Next, please. Solar cooker. This is being developed by our R&D center, where it is also giving this 24/7 kitchen connected indoor cooking solutions, which is especially when if you see that there is no sun, but the heat already there is a box which is getting heated, and that keeps the heat for quite some time. This has been designed for optimum heating elements and also stored in a thermal battery. So this is where this is a very good equipment. These are also coming up, and all these things is going to be very useful for our conversion. Next, please. We have some more, pictures where I can do all sorts of cooking here, and in the last India Energy Week held in Bangalore. So there also this has been displayed, and this was really very well appreciated by the fraternity. They have visited, and also it was launched by our Honorable Minister of Petroleum, Natural Gas and Urban Affairs. So this is done. The cooking, physically cooking was done there. It was served to the people who tested those foods. So it's going to be a very good revolution in our clean cooking solutions. Next, please. This is the way it gets the solar energy. and the reflector tube, it is installed outside. It is like antenna, dish antenna. And also we have been doing a community solar cooking, dish solar cooker and community solar cooker. These are also very useful for our country, which has not launched in a big way, but I strongly believe where there are sun availability is much longer in the part of the country. There, this type of community solar cooker installations will give a big boost in our conversion in the solar energy and the clean cooking alternatives. Next, please. There is one more alternative, which is ethanol-based cook stoves, because we know we are having a very good ethanol, productions capability, and that production is improving day by day. We are having more number of plants, and we are converting from sugar sources, grain sources. But these ethanol stoves have already started in the country. Few of the people have started manufacturing also. So this is going to give a big alternative for the clean cooking, less emission, and it's very efficient, and there is no smoke. And also this is cheaper than LPG. So it's going to be good once we have developed the logistics. We are trying to get the logistics clear so that once
We lost the sound. It looks like Chandan, you got muted.
Yeah. Chandan, are you playing? So you have to unmute yourself.
Sound is coming.
Please play the video. The video is stopped. Please play the video.
energy sources, because the more you
Yes.
Now
do
it
that,
is audible.
it becomes another cost, and you burn fuel to carry fuel. So you burn fossil fuel to carry biofuel. So that model we are not encouraging. So we are trying to get this localized. Similarly, for DME, which is dimethyl ether, which is being produced from biomass, we are trying one startup also. We are grooming that. We are incubating a startup. So once it is successful, that is also having a very good future for the country. And biogas also in LPG blending. Electric and solar cooking, as we explained, these are the very common thread, but subject to electric becomes renewable electric and clean electric. Electricity should be clean. So otherwise, there will be not much of an advantage. And using historic consumption data to provide differential LPG subsidies and consumption-based approach, all these regulations and mandates can be brought in by the the policymakers, which is going to give a good elevations for this type of projects. Yeah, I think next, please. We have come to a solutions now, and any questions, but I can't take questions today. If you have any question, I can take it. It's up to you. Thank you.
Yeah, so we really like to thank Mr. Shantanu Gupta for his wonderful presentation. Now we are moving to the next session of the panel discussion. So panel discussion is focusing mostly that how we can transition, how the 25% is possible through the electricity cooking and all. And for this, we have a wonderful panelist, for that, I request Dr. Simon Batchelor. So I will first introduce Dr. Simon Batchelor. Dr. Simon Batchelor is the Director of GAMUS, a research fellow at Loughborough University, and the research coordinator for the UKRI MECS fund. UK fund aid MECS funded. With over 30 years of experience in development in renewable energy based PhD, significant social mobilization programming in Cambodia. Simon is best known for his firm's work in mobile telephony. In 2000, UK aid funded research undertaken by the GAMUS documented the possibilities for the development of mobile money in Africa and Asia, and working with the multiple stakeholders, Simon championed for its creation. Since 2012, he focused again on the renewable energy, identified new opportunity and the strategies for taking an enduring problem of clean cooking and design the MECS program. So with this, I request Dr. Simon to take it from here and introduce his panelist and take the session forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vimal, and welcome to all the panelists. Dr. Daman, have you got you're putting on your camera. That's great, because I'm going to start with you, Director General of TERI. Now, TERI is always forward thinking and looking to the future. Based on what we just heard in the video, I mean, it was a very quick sweep through the possibilities of clean cooking. Although interestingly, the green shift talks about moving to 25% electric cooking by 2030, and yet that was only partially touched by the Suriname so can I get your take, please, on how you see electric cooking complementing all this work on LPG and this shift towards a greener biogas? How does electric cooking fit in? And what do you see as the key things that need to happen?
Well, it goes without saying that internationally also electric cooking is more common. The one point which we need to consider for India is that most of the electricity that we are generating today is coming from the coal. And therefore, the intervention that Indian Oil has brought out in terms of the solar cooking is really good, because you are actually using the renewable energy for cooking purposes. And I also say that when we talk of cleaner fuel or even energy transition, for a rural kitchen, the energy transition essentially means going for a cleaner fuel, and which can also be biogas. And I see a lot of potential for compressed natural gas, biogas, because that would be like killing two birds with one stone. We have so much of agricultural residue, which otherwise is simply burnt in the field. So if that can be converted into gas, you're having cleaner fuel for your kitchen. And at the same time, the biogas slurry that you have becomes a rich manure for your crop. So it is going back to the soil, and you're able to get better crop next time, or rather what we are talking of, conservation of agriculture, organic agriculture. So that becomes the feed to ensure that you are growing safer crops as well. So having said that, it's also the bioethanol production, again from the agriculture residue. Because see, if we look at even the fossil fuel, it's ultimately, it is the sun's energy. So now we are trying to tap energy in two ways. One is that you are having solar panels and using solar for cooking purposes and so on. The other is that the crops you grow, and of course, even studies are showing as the carbon dioxide level are rising, perhaps the growth of the plants will be better, and they'll also absorb more of carbon dioxide. So therefore, when you start growing crops, or you have more of crops which the agriculture residue, or rather, if I go back, and maybe many of you are not biologists, see what we have done in the past, we have tried to shift the entire energy of the crop towards seed production. And we have gone for draft varieties of wheat and rice. Now, the other possibility is you go back to increase in biomass production with the same level of productivity of the crop. So you have the same yield of wheat and rice, but more of biomass, which then can be converted either into bioethanol or into CNG, natural gas or biogas, so which can then be fed to your kitchens. So we are essentially looking at the greening part. Electricity will play an important role. It goes without saying, and it's also estimated that perhaps by 2030, 1/4 of the total usage will be from electricity, But then we should also be very sensitive towards how are we generating this electricity, because the demand of electricity for electric vehicles for other purposes is also going to go up. So should we really burn it with cooking, or we should also look at the other fuels which are available? So that's what I would like to say at this point. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know the order on the agenda was going to go to Professor Joyti, but I believe that she is delayed. So I'm going to come to you, Dr. Umesh, if that's okay, because I believe you're at a green hydrogen conference at the moment. And Dr. Dhawan's point was that we need this blend, this mix of various things about biogas, natural gas, and where does green hydrogen fit into this? I mean, again, electricity needs to be generated cleanly. And how do you see the future rolling out with hydrogen? You're muted, sorry.
Yeah, am I audible now? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible now. Thank you.
Yeah. Good afternoon, and thanks, Simon, for setting the question to me, because I myself was thinking that my whole half of my brain is right now diverted towards green hydrogen, and here I am talking about clean cooking and electric cooking. How do I actually bring my thoughts together? But let me start from green hydrogen, or let me start from hydrogen. If you can believe, I have myself seen in one Indian laboratory, there was this particular professor who was actually using hydrogen for cooking, and the flame temperatures were very high, and he was still able to manage the cooking part. So that brings me to the point that there will be a day when hydrogen will also be used as a cooking fuel. If not in the near future, then in a distant future, this is something which is very much on the card. Now, one way of using hydrogen into cooking is by inducing hydrogen into the piped natural gas and then using it, which will result in little lesser emissions and better flammability, better cooking temperatures. And that is something which already is being practiced, or on a pilot basis, I am told about 3 or 4 locations this practice is being done. And we see from oil industry, this is how hydrogen is going to penetrate everybody's homes, by mixing it with natural gas. That's the lowest hanging fruit for hydrogen. Of course, that hydrogen has to be coming from a cleaner source, a greener source, and all that is possible. At Indian Oil R&D, we are also putting our resources on generating hydrogen from biomass. And it is not through the electrolyzer route, it is through the biomass gasification route, and we are getting very clean and very pure hydrogen coming out of it, and we plan to put a very big plant very soon in conjunction with some of our refineries. So hydrogen will definitely play a role in the gas-based economy in the country and in the world in the times to come. Having said this, I like to share my experience of utilizing electric-based solar cooking, or PV-based solar cooking that we have taken to the market. And as we see the emerging landscape of renewable energy, there is no single solution which will fulfill all the requirements of green energy. It will be a mix of biomass, wind energy, solar energy, hydrogen, hydropower, and all that. So similarly in cooking, we feel in the clean cooking space, there'll be a mix of solutions that has to be there. In a weather like today, when in Delhi it is raining, of course Surya Nutan will perform, but the people who have LPG connections to them, they are reluctant to use electricity to cook food. They are either depending on the sun to be there to cook on Surya Nutan, or they prefer LPG. I don't know why that psychological barrier is there, but as I always say, that when the LPG was introduced in 1965 in India, it took a lot of time, at least 3 years time, for LPG to actually gather momentum. So similarly, electric cooking is now gathering momentum, and I must say a large part of it and a large credit to goes to Finovista and MECS kind of organizations who are so relentlessly organizing these sessions and spreading awareness about electricity and electric cooking part of it. Because the simplest solution was induction cooktop, and nobody is using it. Everybody is having it in their homes, and it's there as a mental piece in their kitchen. Not many people are using it. But the fact remains that there has to be a sustained awareness campaign where people have to be told that LPG in India, more than 50% is imported. The cost is exorbitant. And if they actually measure, I mean, everybody is educated today. If they actually go out and measure how much of electricity they use in their monthly bill for cooking, if they can actually do it, they will eventually realize that it is much, much less than what they spend on LPG. So I think with sustained awareness and a lot of campaign and a lot of pilot, and I also want to add that when I said it will be a mix of cooking fuels, if there can be some pilot where a biogas plant is there, which can supply to fuels, light a solar cooker is also kept there. So they have options to use whichever is available. If the sun is there, let them use solar. If the sun is not there, let them use biomass. This biomass also has to be not only biomass, it has to be multi-feed. The wet waste from coming out of the kitchen, the biomass, the raw straw, the agri waste, whatever can go into that biogas digester, let it go and let it produce the gas. And that is how we, or I personally see moving forward. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. That's very clear, and thank you for your kind words about Finovista and MECS. But that then lets me come to Dr. Devajit, because Dr. Devajit has been a strong supporter of Finovista and MECS since the beginning, and has a very clear view in what I've heard him speak about before of how things could progress. So Dr. Devajit, if you wouldn't mind commenting on this whole idea of a mix of fuels, electricity being part of that mix, and a lack of awareness.
Thank you. Thank you, Simon. Am I audible?
You are, to me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So thanks again. So it's good to see electric cooking is now getting traction. I think the Energy Transition Working Group has also recommended or suggested 25% of electric cooking by 2030. But of course, it is also part of the Go Electric campaign. But electric vehicles still is a more preferred or more trendy sector as part of the Go Electric campaign. Despite outcome for both electric cooking and electric vehicle, probably in terms of air pollution and carbon emission are similar. So I don't know why electric vehicle is getting more importance than electric cooking as part of the campaign. If I would have been the campaign manager, I would have given equal importance to both. Now the question is whether electric cooking is feasible in India or not. So of course it is feasible. And vis-a-vis LPG, though the government of India promoted LPG in a big way, though at the very beginning in 2017, if I remember correctly, or in around that time, I did wrote a piece on why LPG is being promoted and why not electric cooking, because the price for cooking for both whether we use LPG or you use electricity is almost same. If one has to cook all their meals in either LPG or cooking, so it's almost same. So I don't know why there is a psychological barrier from the consumer that they use LPG and not electric cooking, as my previous speaker mentioned. Maybe because everybody feels that electricity is highly priced, which is probably which is not. If I consider 6 rupees per kilowatt hour, which is the average price, 6 to 7 rupees per kilowatt hour in India. In some areas, it may be lower, this one. Then also the and comparing it with the unsubsidized refill, then the annual expenditure would remain more or less around 10,000 rupees per year on if you cook all your meals in either LPG or electric cooking. So, well, so as far as price is concerned, it is not high. Now, let me come back to the 25% target that the Energy Transition Working Group has mentioned. I feel that the target is on a lower side. Sun is an extremely on a lower side. The reason why I'm saying is that roughly India has about 300 million households, out of which about 105 million households are in the urban areas. This one, so if I consider the population increase, then the 25% target will translate to around 75 to 85 million households of using electric cooker in 2030. And the country is urbanizing at a rate of 1.5% per year. In the urban areas, about 10% households of electric cooking, as per the CEW study. If all additional households, this one was shift to electric cooking in the next 8 years, then we'll have more than around 27% of the total households having electric cooking. The current sale of induction cooktops, as per the manufacturer's data, is about 5 million annual sales, and it is growing at a CAGR of 10%. So if you take a cumulative number of units in 2030, would translate to about 90 million. Though the number of households in India would be around 85 million, that 25% translated will be 85 million. So I think this target is not an aspirational target, it is a conservative target. So that's my first take. But having said that, and of course, the another problem with LPG and would be that LPG, then from an energy security point of view, from a foreign exchange spending for the country, almost 50,000 crore, I think if I know correctly, 50,000 crore is being spent on LPG import. This one, so it's a huge money, and we don't have enough LPG in the country. So from an energy security point of view, definitely LPG is not going to be the sustainable fuel in the long run. I think companies like IOC also recognizes it, who are the largest supplier of LPG in the country. This one. And very recently, there are some reports from the academics in USA that there are some benzene emission from LPG, and it may have its own consequences. So I don't know. These are very initial results. We have to have more empirical data on this. Probably we have to study it more. But yes, mathematically, the number is achievable, the 25%. But having said so, there are other sociological dynamics beyond mathematics. Sometimes mathematics doesn't work, as we have in the national program on improved cook stoves or the PM Ujjwala scheme. And still 40% of the households, as per the National Family Health Survey, continue to use solid fuel. This one. So there might be behavioral issues, there might be affordability issues, there might be supply chain issues. And all these things, I think we have to address if we are to take forward the electric cooking. And most importantly, how do we strengthen the electricity grid infrastructure as part of the RDSS scheme, the revamped distribution sector scheme, and see that and it's good that at least the Energy Transition Group has mentioned about electric cooking. So probably that should feed into the Ministry of Power scheme of things. And also the Go Electric campaign, which is anywhere steered by the Bureau of Energy Efficiency. And the Ministry of Power, as part of this distribution network revamping schemes, should take into consider the potentiality of electric cooking and strengthen the infrastructure. Otherwise, if the distribution line is not strengthened, then no matter whether the consumers want to use electric cooking, they won't be able to use it because the transformer will not allow you to use that. In many states in India, electric cooking has been banned in this one, like in Kerala, Odisha, and other places, because a lot of people started buying induction tops. and the transformer was not adequate enough to support electric cooking in the evening. This one. So these are some of the challenges which needs to be addressed if we are to streamline. But yes, definitely electric cooking is going to be one of the key option in the cooking basket in a household. In urban area, it is already there. In rural areas also, it has started to happen. But we need to plug all the teething problems, including the pricing. Maybe we can consider like the solar cooking as a concept sale, maybe as a pay-as-you-go model or something like that. You provide for the service, not for the product. So a company like ESL or some this one or energy service company can take care of the capital cost and put up this electric cooking in households and charge a service fee for on a monthly basis. This one. So those are the type of things which might help in scaling up the model. So I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's had one or two elements of provocation in there, which is always good to have. Remy, I'm going to come to you in a moment, but I was just going to comment on the 25% because I guess I read it from the point of view that having been working in India with Vimal and others 4 years ago, the discussion really wasn't there. The Go Electric was initially started as e-mobility, it then added the e-cooking, and yeah, so when I read the 25%, I was quite surprised and encouraged. But it is interesting, your numbers, you know, the urban expansion, and then if we assume that 10% are, you know, cooking with electricity now, yeah, I can see how you can get beyond 25% relatively quickly. Remy, you've been listening to all this. How do you see the whole clean cooking mix coming together in a decarbonized future?
Simon, thank you. And thank you, Finovista also, Mr. Vimal Kumar also for giving me this platform. Simon, I have a couple of slides actually. If you allow me to present, I can share it. Shall I proceed?
Yeah. Vimal, have you given him permission to share screen?
Yeah,
Yes,
I
he
can
be
share.
able to share.
Yeah. Okay, go for it.
Is my slide visible?
Yes, it is.
Yes,
Yeah.
please go ahead.
So unfortunately, Dr. Ravi Kumar, head VPCL R&D, cannot join due to personal exigency. So I am presenting on his behalf. So coming to the introduction part of it, I'm just presenting the background of the clean cooking in the global scenario and Indian scenario. As my previous speakers have already mentioned about the penetration of clean cooking in the Indian households in the global arena. So still the numbers are still climbing up. So if you talk about the Indian scenario, something like 94% is the current number with having some access to LPG or PNG as cooking fuel. But as others have also mentioned that people are using the conventional or the traditional solid fuels as their preferred option. Some of these households, so merely something like 70 or 72% is the current percentage of the share in Indian households that people use the clean cooking fuels. So, and also something like 5% of Indian households also use electricity for cooking. So the bottom line is that if we the clean cooking, which basically to eliminate the use of all the cooking arrangements that cause household air pollution and shift into green fuels in tandem. So that is what the target is, and that is what for the discussions are happening nowadays. So coming to the levers, which actually going to transition, to drive the transition to clean cooking. So if I can divide this into 4 levers. The first lever corresponds to increasing the operational efficiencies. So talking about the increasing efficiency of cooktops, conversion into gas-based cooktops, improve the reliability of the cooking devices, and strengthening the supply chain infrastructure. These are the levers which will actually drive the penetration of the clean cooking infrastructure. And second pointer is increased renewable energy use. We are talking about different fuels or renewable fuels like solar based cooking cooktops or ethanol, bio-natural gas, hydrogen, methanol, and DME. So these are some of the energy sources which can actually decarbonize or make the entire cooking arena green. And third lever is about deploying the emerging technologies like your electric cooktops, solar cooktops, PNG, and even hydrogen cooktops. People are talking about, although the catalytic hydrogen burners are costly. So the development is happening around the world. So this is also one of the options. And also we have mentioned about the ethanol and methanol stoves. And last but not the least, the government incentives for the zero emission cooktops like promotions, incentives, and maybe in terms of carbon credits. This also will drive this entire transition to clean cooking in a much faster way. And coming to the BPCL initiatives, last I think in 2021 we have, in collaboration with Petroleum Conservation Research Authority, we have developed one high efficient LPG stove, which is 74% thermal efficient. And this thermally efficient cooktop is available in India to our BPCL LPG distributor channel. The LPG stove, as we know, that currently the efficiency of stoves available in the market is 68%. So we have the stove developed by us is having an efficiency of 74%. The technology is now patented and transferred to more than 16 burner manufacturers across India. So almost 1 lakh stoves have already been sold in the Indian market. Now a lot of demand is coming from countries like Africa and even from Europe. So we are discussing with these people so that the stove technology can be implemented on a mass scale. And in the similar fashion, the technology has been extended for PNG application also, because as we know that in India, the LPG infrastructure is so strong, and when the PNG fuel came, all the LPG stoves are retrofitted for the PNG application. So as you know that the fuel efficiency, basically the thermal efficiency goes down with the retrofitting. So we have basically studied all the components which are contributing to this thermal efficiency, and we have achieved a thermal efficiency of 74% for the PNG burner also, and that is the highest ever reported in India also. Now this is also going to come in the market. So as we move forward, what I find is that, okay, we need more penetration of LPG and natural gas along with efficient and reliable cooktops to have more acceptability for clean cooking. And second is that parallelly, a lot of development is required for developing more cleaner fuels and the cooking devices associated with that. And last but not the least, the supply chain development and demonstration. A lot of field trials are also required, which involves a lot of R&D. And at the same time, we need to create the manufacturing ecosystem for implementing these clean cooking systems. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I'm going to stick with you and be a little bit controversial. The whole green shift document is about moving away from fossil fuels. It's trying to substitute. We heard in the video introduction, LPG blended with compressed biogas, bio LPG is a possibility as also, and biogas itself being used. How do you, as a embedded in the oil industry and probably worrying about the future, your business model is being challenged globally, not just you, but COP26, 27. how are you feeling now about this decarbonization green shift, this transition?
Yeah, that's what Simon and I just explained in my presentation also. It's not going to be a big change or a sudden shift that which we are thinking. It will be a gradual change. So when the infrastructure and the manufacturing ecosystem and when the customers or the consumers are ready to accept the change in the fuels, it will be a kind of automatic transition. That is what we are envisaging. So the companies like us have to basically work hand in hand with the consumers and the manufacturing ecosystem and the fuel producers, which involves us also, so that the entire transition becomes smooth. That's what we are thinking.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Dhawan, are you still here with us?
I think she has gone for
She had to go.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll come back to Dr. Debajit, if I may, and ask you, Dr. Debajit, about this transition that Rennie was talking about. You know, it'll be a slow thing, of course. We live in a complex system, and all of those sorts of changes are gradual and slow. How do you feel that we can accelerate, if we can, those decarbonization changes? What is there in that green shift that we could reinforce? You're muted, sorry.
Yeah, no, Simon, I'm asking, you want to know in terms of cooking for decarbonization in the cooking sector?
I wasn't necessarily going to restrict you to cooking. I know that you have a broad view of everything. So, you know, the cooking is one subsystem within the whole energy system. You know, we've talked already about electricity itself is currently generated by coal. That's going to shift to renewables over a period of time. So I'm going to give you free rein to go as wide as you like.
So well, again, I will provoke the audience. So while definitely we have to decarbonize the electricity sector, and electricity contributes, I think, power sector contributes roughly around 34% of the GHG emissions in India. If we are moving towards electric mobility, electric cooking, and other things, the 34% may also increase unless we also decarbonize at the same time. This one. Now, the challenge here is that, well, we are talking about renewable energy, whether it is solar or wind, because of the intermittency. We are also talking about the pumped hydro storage and battery energy storage system, and so on and so forth. This one, but we also have to, again, I will use some numbers. We also have to see currently the per capita electricity consumption in India is roughly around 1300 kilowatt hour per person per capita. Right. That means the government has given a roadmap that by 2047 we should become a developed country or a middle income country. Now, if we are to achieve that, our per capita electricity consumption definitely has to increase from 1200 kilowatt hour, which is still considered as an energy poor country. This one, and both per capita electricity consumption and also per capita energy consumption. This one. Now, if I consider just the electricity and considering the movement towards electric mobility, electric cooking, and also the going towards the middle income country, and if we are to achieve around say 2000 or 2200 kilowatt hour per capita, then this additional 800 or 900 units multiplied by the total population in 2030, this one will need about 11 billion units of electricity. Now, can that amount of electricity plus whatever electricity we are already consuming from product that is being produced from coal, can we shift entirely towards renewable energy? This one. what is the type of money that would be required? What is the type of infrastructure that would be required? The transmission infrastructure that would be required. These are big numbers. These are numbers which probably needs to be discussed, debated, and estimated in a more detailed way. Somehow I see a gap in those numbers. All these numbers doesn't converge to the same point. The Brookings Institute gave a number that if we are to shift to electric cooking, 5% of the electricity requirement would only be for cooking. In 2030. Now these are now I come back to the this energy transition report. They say 25% would be from electric cooking, but nowhere in the report, or if I missed it, I don't know. I could see the calculation or the assumption behind this 25%. It's just a recommendation towards the end of the report. It doesn't flow from the report. So these are some of the things that we need to debate, we need to discuss, and probably we would be in a better position to tell what exactly would be our situation, maybe 10 years down the line or 20 years down the line. But one thing is certain, is that we definitely have to decarbonize the energy sector, and the type of additional energy that would be required for us to move towards a developed economy or a middle income country, coal is not going to vanish, at least in the short to medium term. In the longer term, definitely we have to address we have to shift towards more cleaner energy. But in the short to medium term, probably coal is going to be there. And And third, renewable energy, the process of energy production from renewable energy is clean, but that doesn't mean the entire value chain is clean. So we also have to find solution. And when we say we, I think the global community has to find a solution how to make the entire value chain clean. So currently that work also needs to be done in a big way. So I will stop here. I think I don't know whether it answers your question or not, or whether it raises more question.
No, it's a big question, and you paint the picture of the large complexities that we are facing. And indeed, it's a global problem. I mean, we see that here in the UK as much as you in India. How to keep the economy going with all the modern energy uses and still expand it, and at the same time decarbonize it. I mean, I am proud to say that the UK had a couple of days about a month ago where we used no fossil fuel whatsoever in our electricity supply, but that's still not the general case every day.
I'll just add a point here. Can I
just
30 seconds? So when we talk about in most of the European countries, when we talk about that the total generation, renewable energy generation is more than the demand for certain number of days or weeks, whether it is UK, Greece, or Spain or any other country. What is not being told is that during that point of time, that it is not that there is no electricity from the conventional fuel in the grid at that point of time. It is only that the total demand is less than the total generation. So maybe at that point of time, 50% energy is from renewable, 50% is from conventional grid, and 50% of that additional energy is being exported to some other country. And we don't know whether it is the renewable which is being exported or the conventional which is being exported. So again, mathematically, it looks fine, but in reality, some information is not being told explicitly.
At the risk of making a pun about dirty cooking, it's all smoke and mirrors because they manipulate the data.
Yes, but
now
absolutely. Thank you.
Absolutely. So we have, Debajit, you and I could probably carry on, but we have lost a lot of our panel. And so maybe we should either invite, Rennie, you are still here. Sorry, you just switched off the camera. So I did want to come back to you, Rennie, and just your improved, higher efficient LPG stove. How will the injection of hydrogen or the injection of compressed biogas sit with that stove?
Yeah, if I explain you in a more theoretical way, as you know that the volumetric flow rate requirement in case of natural gas is almost 2.5 to 3 times to get the same thermal output in case of PNG, if you are directly replacing the LPG stove with PNG. And at the same time, your air fuel ratio requirement is also going down. So definitely there is a requirement to modify your burner components, including your burner top, fan support, and then the mixing tube and everything. But in India, everything is cost dependent. Like when you do the retrofitment, normally the some small adjustments are done so that the efficiency is not lost much actually. But actually, if you're looking at it from the design perspective, it needs all these components require a redesign actually. So we have looked at this project in a different way, that how to make an efficient PNG stove. Okay, so that was the problem statement for us. So that's how we could do the complete redesign of the PNG stove, or maybe you can say that okay, stove was designed for a PNG application. And at the same time, we have kept the cost also as one of the prerogative. Why? Because if you're keeping the cost of stove more than the LPG stove, then people may not accept it actually. So the cost is kept at the same level. So you're not going to increase the cost of the PNG stove when you're going for a change in your stove for PNG application. So these are the two things which we have taken care actually. So in case of hydrogen also, that currently that study is undergoing, so when we are blending hydrogen in small percentages with the natural gas, so the stove performance is not going to go down. So that kind of margin of the design margins are taken care in the design. And for the hydrogen, pure hydrogen application, the stove design again will go for a different, it will go, the design will automatically change actually. So this is how we are looking at this problem. So if we cannot design one particular stove for, it cannot be for many fuels actually. So the design will have to be done for one particular fuel, but some kind of margins can be taken for even for blend fuels and for flex fuel applications.
Okay, thank you. And I think, your explanation reinforces the idea that we're in a complex system, and every little change that we make has consequences on the whole supply chain, on the technology, on the yes. And so, the Green Shift document is about transforming India as a whole, and that is such a complex action. We all have to play our part. I'm going to hand back to Vimal. Renee, I hope you notice on the chat that somebody says that you beautifully summed up. In India, everything is cost dependent, and this is a great challenge for the uptake of any innovation. So I'm going to hand back to Vimal. I think we probably have exhausted ourselves unless there are any burning questions. But Vimal, take it back, please.
Yeah, thank you, Simon, for moderating the session very beautifully and summarized really well and all. And we really like to thank you, our panelists, who gave the diverse views from the policy angle, from the research angle, from the science and the sociology angle, and the lot of chats are coming. And we also try to answer the lot of chats through the possibly through the emails as the time is going up. But please feel free to share your comments, chat, our ID, which is a program@finovista.com. We will be replying. And once again, thank you for coming and sharing the input. Please feel free to promote this concept, as most of the panelists have spoken about demonstration, awareness, pilots, campaign, and all. So this is as a very small initiative, but we can actually amplify if we all of us actually think toward this direction. Yes, thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.